Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is one of those games that just feels like a power trip from start to finish. You play as a beefed-up Space Marine, and the whole experience is all about making sure the enemies in your path know who's boss. If you're looking to unleash some serious carnage, this one has you covered with an arsenal that'll make your inner warrior feel right at home. First off, combat is such a smooth mix of shooting and slicing your way through bad guys. You've got a whole arsenal of guns that'll make you feel like an action hero. Think bolters, plasma guns, and of course, the chainsword. There's nothing more satisfying than mowing down hordes of enemies with a big old chainsword, followed by an explosive shot from your bolter. The game doesn't just make you feel powerful, it wants you to feel powerful, and that's a huge win in itself. The flow between ranged and melee combat is seamless, which means you can totally play your way, depending on the situation or just how you're feeling at the time. Fancy chopping up some alien scum? Go for it. Feel like sniping from a distance? That works too. It's all about finding your style. The multiplayer side of things gives a lot of variety too. You've got your co-op modes where you and your friends can team up to take on tougher missions, or if you're more into the competitive side of things, there's a solid 6v6 mode that has some really fun team-based gameplay. You'll be trying to outsmart and outshoot your opponents, which adds a bit of that let's do this again feeling after every round. Stalker 2 is a game that really takes you to a whole new level of immersion. It's one of those titles where once you're in, you'll forget about everything else around you. Picture this, you're dropped into a massive open world that's as eerie as it is fascinating, with a mysterious atmosphere that's impossible to ignore. There's no sugarcoating it. It's gritty, and it's challenging in the best ways. The game lets you roam freely, and that freedom is paired with a huge variety of things to do. Whether you're exploring the ruins of a place caught between time or trying to survive against dangerous anomalies, it's hard not to get lost in its unique setting. The world is full of surprises, some friendly, some not so friendly, but it's the kind of place where everything feels alive, even when it's not. And the gameplay? It's dynamic. You'll find yourself swapping between exploration, intense combat, and strategic decision-making all the time. Whether you're sneaking past enemies or standing your ground in a firefight, the game does a great job of making every moment feel important. You can always feel the tension, like you're always on the edge, but it's a good kind of tension, the kind that keeps you coming back for more. What really stands out is the sense of unpredictability. Just when you think you've got things under control, something will happen that completely throws you off. The game doesn't hold your hand, but it rewards you for your patience and your willingness to adapt. The Last of Us is a game that has pretty much set the bar for how video games can deliver unforgettable experiences. If you're into those intense, edge-of-your-seat moments, but also love getting deep into the characters' emotions, this one hits the sweet spot. You'll find yourself in a world where the stakes are high, the action's thrilling, and the relationships are just as complex as anything you'll encounter in a good movie or TV show. Now, gameplay, it's not just about running around shooting things, though you'll definitely be doing your fair share of that. The best part, you're constantly scavenging, hunting for resources, and crafting items to get by. You'll be crafting everything from health kits to Molotov cocktails, which are super useful when you find yourself in tight spots. It's not about mindless action. You'll find yourself thinking on your feet, balancing combat and stealth, which makes the whole experience feel super rewarding. One of the coolest parts is how you'll navigate through these crazy post-apocalyptic environments. There's something oddly satisfying about exploring abandoned buildings, figuring out where you're supposed to go, and piecing together what happened before the world turned upside down. It's like being dropped into a world that's both familiar and totally alien at the same time. And while you're out there in the wild, you won't always be alone. You've got companions who are not only helpful in a pinch, but also bring a lot of personality to the mix. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is one of those games that just feels right if you're a fan of action and adventure, but also love a deep story. You step into the shoes of a Jedi Padawan, navigating a galaxy full of danger, mystery, and of course, a bit of lightsaber action. What makes this game stand out is its perfect blend of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat. Whether you're climbing, running, or using the Force to uncover secrets, there's always something that keeps you engaged. The gameplay itself? It's fantastic. The combat is really satisfying, not just swinging a lightsaber around, but truly engaging in tactical, thoughtful fights. Every battle feels important, and using the Force to tip the scales is always a blast. The lightsaber combat feels fluid, and the way you can block and parry enemy attacks adds a layer of strategy. Plus, the game incorporates elements of exploration that keep things fresh. You'll be unlocking new abilities that let you revisit areas in new ways, which means there's always something new to discover. The progression system is solid too. You get to make choices on how to level up, from improving your lightsaber skills to mastering the Force. It gives you plenty of ways to tailor your play style, which is great if you like having some control over your character's development. You can choose to be a more offensive Jedi or go all in on defensive tactics. Prey is a game that combines a bit of everything: action, strategy, survival, and a whole lot of mystery. It's set in a space station, but it's not your typical futuristic utopia. Things are a bit more chaotic. You step into the shoes of Morgan Yu, a scientist who's stuck in the middle of an alien outbreak, and let me tell you, things get pretty intense. What makes this game stand out is how you approach every challenge. It's not just about blasting your way through enemies, though trust me, that can be a lot of fun too. There's a lot of freedom here. Whether you want to go in guns blazing, use your wits to sneak around, or even use the alien powers you can steal, the game lets you pick your own path. The aliens in this game, the Typhon, are a real treat to go up against. But what makes them so cool is that you can actually get some of their powers for yourself. Think about becoming a shape-shifting object or getting telekinetic abilities. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Exploration is huge. The Talos space station is massive, and every nook and cranny hides something interesting. Whether it's a hidden room full of supplies or a backstory about the station, the game rewards those who take the time to look around. It's not a linear path where you just follow the story and rush through. Nope, you'll be checking out different areas, solving puzzles, and finding new ways to interact with the environment. The crafting system is also a game changer. Dark Souls 3 is one of those games that you can't help but hear about if you spent any time in the gaming world. It's got this legendary status, and for good reason. The whole vibe of the game is about surviving the toughest challenges, and if you're into that kind of thing, it's a wild ride. Let's talk about what really stands out. First off, combat. This is where the magic happens. You don't just rush in swinging your sword like a maniac. Everything you do feels like it has weight. Each attack, block, and dodge is a calculated move. It's all about timing. If you mess up, you'll feel it, but if you get it right, oh, the satisfaction. It's like a rhythm you start to get into as you face some of the most creative and, let's be real, terrifying enemies you'll find it in any game. Every fight, whether it's against a random enemy or a huge boss, feels like a mini puzzle you're trying to solve on the fly. Then, there's the world. It's this huge, interconnected place where every corner hides something. You can't just rush through it. There's no hand-holding here. If you want to get through, you need to explore, pay attention, and maybe take a few wrong turns along the way. It's a world full of secrets, and finding those hidden paths or shortcuts that make your journey a little easier is like a mini victory in itself. That sense of discovery is always there, and it's one of those games where even if you're stuck, you just keep going because you know there's something awesome around the next bend. Fallout 4 is a game where you're just thrown into a world that's completely fallen apart, and it's up to you to make your own way through it. The game is like a giant playground filled with danger, mystery, and let's face it, a whole lot of junk to collect. You can spend hours just wandering around, exploring old buildings, picking up scrap to build something new, or finding new settlements to create a little piece of safety in the wasteland. And that's one of the coolest things about this game. How you can take a pile of junk and turn it into something useful, like crafting a powerful gun or even building your own house. It's all about getting creative with the resources around you. What makes the gameplay stand out is how much freedom it gives you. You're not just following a straight line from one mission to the next. You're in a world that's packed with side quests, hidden locations, and random encounters that you can stumble upon whenever. Want to help some settlers rebuild? You can do that. Feel like clearing out an old military base filled with raiders? Yep, that's totally your call. The best part? You don't need to do anything in a particular order. Just follow what catches your attention. Then, there's the combat. It's a nice blend of real-time action and strategic thinking. You can just go in guns blazing or use the tactical Vault-Tec assisted targeting system, VATS, to slow down time and target weak spots on enemies. It makes the combat feel fresh, and it's fun to mix up how you approach different situations. Final Fantasy XV. From the get-go, it's clear this game isn't messing around. It's all about exploration, combat, and making memories with your squad. And by squad, I mean Noctis and his 3 buddies, who aren't just companions, but feel like real friends by the time you hit that final chapter. The game's got that road trip vibe where you're not just fighting monsters and ticking off quests, but just hanging out with your crew, swapping stories, and getting into some fun side activities. The world is huge, like massive. You can jump in your car, the regalia, and just drive around for ages, exploring new places, fighting giant beasts, and soaking in the vibe of this totally immersive world. What's cool is that it doesn't just throw a bunch of stuff at you. Everything in the game feels connected, and each new area brings something fresh. You've got bustling cities, mysterious forests, deserts, you name it. And with the car, you're cruising, but also stopping to fish, cook, or just kick back for a while, adding these really chill moments to balance out the action. Then, there's the combat, which is seriously fun. No more turn-based stuff here. This is all real-time action where you're bouncing around, dodging attacks, and pulling off these super stylish moves with your weapons. It keeps you on your toes, and honestly, it feels pretty satisfying to chain those attacks together. The magic system adds a nice touch too, letting you mix up your strategy on the fly. Shadow of the Tomb Raider brings Lara Croft back for another action-packed adventure that's as fun as it is challenging. It's not just about swinging across ledges or taking down enemies, though there's plenty of that. It's also about exploration and getting into the groove of some seriously clever puzzle solving. Right from the start, the gameplay feels smooth, like it's designed to make you feel like an absolute pro. The climbing mechanics are tighter than ever, and the ability to stealthily sneak around enemies adds a fresh dynamic. Imagine crawling through the jungle, hiding in bushes, and using the environment to your advantage. If you love games that let you be sneaky or give you the option to go in guns blazing, this game has you covered. One of the coolest parts is the focus on stealth. There's something satisfying about taking down enemies without them even knowing you were there. Lara can hide in the shadows or blend into the environment. Whether it's using the environment to her advantage or silently taking out foes, the game really lets you feel like you're the ultimate adventurer in the most natural way possible. And then there are the tombs. The game is packed with them, and these aren't just little side activities either. Some of them will really make you think and challenge your puzzle-solving skills. You'll be twisting levers, finding secret paths, and discovering hidden areas that will make you feel like you're Indiana Jones. The tombs are designed to test your wit and reward your patience. They're a real highlight. Control is a game that mixes action, exploration, and a ton of supernatural chaos. You step into the shoes of Jesse Faden, a character who's trying to piece together the mysteries of a world that seems to constantly shift and change. What really makes the game stand out is how it takes the typical third-person shooter formula and adds these awesome psychic powers that make combat feel way more dynamic. The gameplay is super fun because it lets you get creative with how you approach things. You've got all these telekinetic powers like being able to throw objects around or even lift yourself up and float midair. It really spices up the combat, and the way it's mixed with traditional gunplay just makes for this fluid, action-packed experience. There's a cool balance here between blasting away with your weapon and using your abilities to control the environment around you, turning every fight into something more strategic. Another great thing is the way the game handles its environment. The oldest house, where all the action happens, is like a maze that keeps you on your toes. You're never quite sure what you'll encounter next, whether it's an unexpected fight or a hidden room with cool loot. It's a place that feels alive, with everything constantly changing, making exploration feel rewarding. What really helps the whole experience is the way it lets you build your character. There are a ton of ways to customize Jessie's powers, allowing you to focus on things like making her more agile, strengthening her telekinetic abilities, or boosting her defense. One of the coolest things about this game is how it never tells you how to do your job. It just drops you into these huge, detailed places and lets you figure it all out. That's the real beauty of Hitman World of Assassination. It doesn't babysit you or hold your hand, and the freedom it gives makes every mission feel like a puzzle with 100 different ways to crack it. Every location you visit has layers upon layers of possibilities tucked away, just waiting for you to spot them. Whether it's sneaking into a private event in plain sight or turning an everyday object into the perfect tool for the job, the creativity this game sparks is honestly half the fun. Nothing beats the feeling of pulling off something that looked impossible just a few minutes ago. All because you paid attention to the small details. And the way disguises work is a masterclass in design. Swapping outfits isn't just for laughs, it's the key to moving through each area like you belong there. Every change opens new doors, gives you fresh opportunities, and sometimes even creates the most unexpected ways to reach your target. It's the kind of system that rewards curious players with clever solutions you'd never expect on your first try. Then there's the freelancer mode, which flips the usual setup on its head. Here you've got to rely on the gear you bring with you, plan around the unknown, and basically become a one-person strategy machine. It adds this extra layer of tension and forces you to think 2 or 3 moves ahead at all times. The Witcher 3. There's something really special about the way it combines an epic, sprawling adventure with a world that feels alive in a way not many games manage to pull off. When it comes to the gameplay, it's all about the freedom. You're thrown into this huge world filled with so many different areas to explore. From the lush forests to war-torn villages, it's a place that feels lived in, and every corner has something interesting to offer. You can be doing one thing, like hunting down a vicious monster, and then get sidetracked by a side quest that has you investigating a strange creature terrorizing a town. Every quest feels important, even the smaller ones, and they all fit together to make the world feel connected. The combat, it's fast, fun, and versatile. Whether you prefer getting up close and personal with your swords or casting powerful magic to take down enemies from a distance, there's a combat style that suits everyone. It's not just about hacking and slashing, though. You'll need to be smart and think on your feet, using the right tactics for each enemy. It's the kind of game where you learn, adapt, and feel really satisfying as you start to master all the skills at your disposal. What's also awesome about this game is how much it makes your choices matter. Every decision, no matter how small, can have big consequences, and that adds a layer of tension and excitement. You're not just going through the motions, your actions shape how the world around you unfolds. Greedfall is one of those games that just pulls you into a whole new world full of adventure, political drama, and, of course, tons of loot. It's an RPG that really makes you think about how to approach situations, whether you're sword fighting your way through a battle, charming your way into an alliance, or crafting the perfect gear. It's like your classic RPG, but with a fresh twist on the usual fantasy setting, which makes it feel like a bit of a breath of fresh air. The gameplay is a blast because it offers so many ways to play. Whether you're a fan of up-close and personal combat with a sword, you like picking people off from a distance with a bow, or you want to mix things up with some magic, you'll find a style that suits you. The best part is that you don't have to stick to just one. You can tweak your skills to be this jack-of-all-trades, making your approach to fights feel pretty flexible and dynamic. And speaking of flexibility, the whole diplomacy side of things is a lot of fun too. It's not just about hacking and slashing your way through problems. You can actually talk your way out of situations, make alliances, and influence factions to get what you want. That whole do I fight or talk my way through this vibe is constantly present, and it's such a cool dynamic to have in a game. The choices you make with people can change the direction of the game, which gives everything you do a bit more weight. It's like every interaction counts. Little Nightmares 2. This one's a spooky little ride, but in the best kind of way. Imagine being dropped into a world that feels just a little off-kilter in every direction, where every corner has you tiptoeing and holding your breath. It's got this eerie charm to it that's oddly addictive. Nothing's ever really safe, but that just makes every little victory feel way more satisfying. Movement feels tight, with every step and climb having just the right amount of tension. You're constantly figuring out how to get past weird, oversized obstacles and sketchy environments. There's this fun balance between puzzle solving and staying out of trouble. It's not just about being quick or clever, it's about both, sometimes at the exact same time. The pacing does this great job of keeping things fresh. One moment you're sneaking through tight spaces, trying not to make a sound. The next, you're scrambling to avoid something massive and unpleasant. The game keeps mixing up the pace just enough to keep you guessing. And it never overstays its welcome in any one area. The real fun comes from how it feels to move through this world. There's a nice blend of platforming, light combat, and teamwork. Partner mechanics actually feel useful and thoughtful here, which adds an extra layer to the gameplay without overcomplicating things. You're not just running around solo, there's someone else right there helping you figure it all out. What really stands out is how the game communicates so much without ever needing to spell things out. Everything just flows. Dragon's Dogma 2. It's not just another RPG to add to your backlog. This one's got some serious bite. If you're into exploration, thrilling combat, and a bit of weirdness mixed in, you're in for a treat. First off, the world is huge, like ridiculously huge. You're not just walking around the same few villages or caves, you've got lush forests, dry deserts, and everything in between. And yes, it all feels super alive with day-to-night transitions that actually matter. Things get way more intense when the sun goes down, so you're going to find yourself battling monsters under the eerie glow of the moon. Pretty cool stuff. Now let's talk about combat. This game really delivers when it comes to making you feel like an absolute badass. You're slicing through monsters with your sword, blasting them with magic, or even grabbing onto the backs of huge creatures and fighting them up close. And trust me, it never gets old. It's got that fast-paced, action-packed vibe that keeps you on your toes. And with multiple classes to choose from, there's always a new way to mess things up. Plus, if you're into customizing your playstyle, this game lets you experiment and figure out what feels best. But here's where it gets really fun, the pawn system. Imagine having a bunch of AI companions who are there to help you out, but also learn from their experiences. So if you've been tackling dragons or dealing with super creepy monsters, they pick up on it. Disco Elysium. This one's a game that really flips the script on what you expect from an RPG. Forget about epic sword fights or intense battles. This one's all about you, your brain, and how you navigate a world full of crazy characters and head-scratching situations. It's like walking into a detective novel and getting to choose how everything plays out, but with way more depth and weirdness. First off, you've got this detective who's kind of a mess, but in a way that's strangely relatable. He's dealing with a whole lot of inner turmoil, and your job as the player is to steer him through not just solving a mystery, but figuring out who he even is. It's like peeling back layers of an onion, except the onion's super complicated and keeps throwing curveballs at you. The skill system is where things really shine. Instead of the usual combat stats, you've got abilities like logic, empathy, and endurance. The more you dive into these, the more you unlock different ways to interact with the world. It's not just about physical power, it's about how well you can think, feel, and read situations. Some of the dialogue options will have you second-guessing your decisions, and that's what makes it so fun. You're always on your toes, trying to figure out which parts of your character you want to lean into. Then, there's the way you talk to yourself. Seriously, this game lets you have conversations with your own thoughts. It's like having a panel of experts inside your head offering opinions and advice, but they don't always agree with each other. Doom 4. If you're a fan of fast-paced action, brutal combat, and some of the most fun gameplay around, this one is a must-check out. Right from the start, it's clear that the game knows exactly what it wants to be. It's all about the fight, and nothing gets in the way of that. You're constantly on the move, dodging enemies, firing off your arsenal, and figuring out how to make those epic glory kills. There's no time to waste in this one, and that's what makes it so exciting. One thing that stands out here is how they've embraced the chaos. You're not hiding behind cover, slowly regenerating health, or worrying about ammo. This is about running into the fray and kicking some serious demon butt. It's fast, relentless, and honestly a ton of fun. You'll find yourself weaving between enemies, taking out groups with the most creative combinations of weapons. And the best part? There's always a new weapon or tool to keep things fresh, Whether it's the iconic shotgun or the powerful BFG, the game makes sure you never get bored with your loadout. The combat flows so smoothly, it almost feels like an extension of your reflexes. From the fluid movement to the satisfying impact of each shot, every encounter feels like a mini adrenaline rush. And then there's the glory kill mechanic, where you can execute enemies in the most satisfying ways when they're weak. It's a brutal system that rewards you with health pickups, keeping the action going and ensuring you never slow down. But what really makes this game shine is how it gives you freedom within that action. Spec Ops: The Line. The story itself might be set in a war-torn Dubai, but it's the way the game forces you to confront some heavy questions about morality and leadership that makes it stand out. The gameplay, while still rooted in the traditional cover-based shooting mechanics, feels so much more engaging when you realize it's not just about killing enemies. It's about strategy and thinking on your feet. You're not alone in this, you got your squad with you, and you can actually command them in battle to help you out. That little bit of extra control over how things unfold makes the combat feel more tactical and satisfying. The use of the environment is awesome too. You'll see sandstorms roll in, wreaking havoc, and the city's ruins make for some really interesting cover choices that can change the dynamic of every fight. What's really cool, though, is how the game plays with the idea of choices and consequences. It's not just about shooting your way through enemies to the next checkpoint. Every action you take feels like it might come back to haunt you, and that adds some real emotional weight to everything you do. It's not every day a shooter makes you question if what you're doing is the right thing. And let's talk about the setting for a second. Sure, it's set in a fictionalized Dubai, but it's the sand and destruction that really set the tone. The city is in ruins, and it's like playing in an abandoned post-apocalyptic version of a once glamorous place. The way sand is used as a tactical element adds a fun layer to the combat. It's always a good time when you can dive into a world where the stakes are high and the action is non-stop. Diablo 4 brings that perfect mix of chaos and control. And if you've ever enjoyed taking down hordes of enemies, you'll feel right at home. The moment you step into this game, it's clear that Blizzard didn't just want to make another action RPG. They wanted to make something that felt alive. From the moment you start, you're not just picking a class, you're picking how you want to wreak havoc. Whether you're slashing through enemies as a barbarian, casting crazy elemental spells as a sorcerer, or calling the spirits of the dead with a necromancer, each class has its own vibe. What's cool is how much each one changes the way you play. The rogue's quick hits and stealth maneuvers are super satisfying, while the druid offers a mix of spellcasting and brutal bear form attacks. There's something about the variety that keeps the action feeling fresh. The combat is another highlight. It's fast-paced, smooth, and feels like you're really in control. Whether you're swinging massive weapons or throwing fireballs, the game makes every move feel impactful. But it's not just about button mashing your way through waves of enemies. There's strategy in how you build your character and approach each fight. The skill tree system lets you customize your abilities so you can focus on the playstyle that suits you best. And when you hit that perfect combination of attacks, it's like everything just clicks. There's something ridiculously cool about hitting the brakes on a sports car, flipping a switch, and suddenly you're soaring through the skies in a stunt plane, all without a single loading screen breaking the flow. That's the kind of madness that makes The Crew 2 stand out right from the first few minutes. This isn't your usual racing game where you stick to one kind of machine or one stretch of road. The Crew 2 throws open the entire US map and lets you roam wild across highways, rivers, and skies, swapping between cars, boats, and planes anytime you feel like shaking things up. One moment you're cutting through Miami's sunlit streets in a sleek hypercar. The next, you're splashing through the Mississippi in a powerboat. And before you know it, you've traded water for altitude and you're flipping loops above the Rocky Mountains. The best part about this game is how smooth and fun that switcheroo system feels. There's no slow menus or awkward waiting. You just snap your fingers, hit a button, and your vehicle pops into place, ready to go. That little feature alone turns exploring the map into an addictive loop because the more you bounce between vehicles, the more you want to push the world's limits and find new spots to mess around. Events in the game aren't just set up for one type of racer either. The variety is nuts. One day you'll be chasing a finish line through a twisting street circuit, and the next you're hammering an off-road buggy across the desert or carving perfect lines through air race checkpoints.